I've got nothing better to do, so might as well do this. I don't know. Boredom sometimes is a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. Because having something to do means something to work forward to, but having nothing to do means being able to relax. Sometimes just finding a balance. Anyway, enough dribble. Let's search chapter 6 of I Only Make Bad Movies. 第6章浪哥的第一个剧本. Lang is obviously Brother Lang. D is the first, and then 剧本 is basically script. Pretty sure that's how it is. 剧 usually meaning film or actor. I started from humble beginnings, and my life is like an ant. But I yearn for the light, so I hope I can finally be bright. I hope I can be like a moth to a fire. I hope I can dissipate all the light. That year, in the huge hall, Huang Bo vaguely remembered a child seriously reciting the song Two Dreams by Su Xiao. The simple clothes couldn't hide the fiery eyes, but the tender voice revealed a sonorous determination to be reckless. He remembered the child's name was Sung Lang. A year ago, he even thought about helping the student. But sometimes life is like a journey. People walk and get onto the roller coaster all the way to the rainbow, while some people get lame when they walk. Sung Lang is one of those who is lame while walking. A year later, near graduation, he failed 3 subjects in a row and became one of few of the seed players in the class. It is really difficult for Huangbo to contact the once sonorous and powerful child. If it wasn't for Zhang Ya's 2-hour phone call yesterday, I hope he can seriously help to read the script written by this child. When the child needs help, he will even forget Sung Lang. On the phone, Zhang Ya said although Sung Lang is occasionally a jerk, he is good-natured and talented. At the same time, he has dreams, and he needs help, and we should help him too. We can't give up on any student. After listening, Huangbo was silent for a long time and finally nodded his head. After all, he's one of young Ying, yeah, sorry, Swallow Films, Ying's few dedicated teachers. And after all, he is still Sung Lang's teacher. Moreover, he wanted to see what kind of script Sung Lang wrote and what movie he was going to make. Although, considering Sung Lang's certain current situation, to want to make a movie is a little bit nonsense, is a little bit um unrealistic. Sung Lang, what's your script about? Huh? Script? Yeah, I heard that you're planning to make a movie. Can I read your script? The dorm was a little empty and his brother seemed to be out. Seeing the serious teacher Huang, Sung Lang felt guilty for no reason. The fledgling Zhang Ya and Sung Lang can still feel they can made Sung Lang still feel he could fool around and take advantage. But Sung Lang, with a veteran teacher like Huang Bo, who's been doing well in the entertainment industry, is a little more difficult. Script? He's completely empty-handed and has no script at all. He doesn't even know what movie he wants to make, um, and he doesn't know how to make it. Where's he going to get a script from? However, his guilty conscience only lasted for a moment. Then there was unprovoked passion in the depths of his heart. Huangbo, Mr. Huang, it's like a walking investor standing in front of Sung Lang, even making a movie and playing a good role. Anyway, I will quickly talk about entrepreneurship because in the place where I live, entrepreneurship is a dream among many, amongst many other dreams. Um, Not gonna shield too much, but like there's Slide Bean and whatnot. There's a couple of like startup combinators, and I don't know. I'm not gonna teach understanding because that's gonna be a lot of difficulty. Okay, the problem with teaching understanding is that the easiest way is to teach from experience, and I don't like teaching from personal experience, not too much. I like sharing insight, but experience is very subjective. But they basically gave out a figure, which, especially in certain regions, where is that for every 500,000 that you raise, you have to talk to, I think, what, 50 to 100 investors or something like that. So that's a lot of people you have to talk to and network, and then you have to constantly go with the pitch deck. And that's all I'm going to share. I'm not going to talk too much about that because just no, I don't like getting personally too involved. Um, hashtag not a financial advice or something. Um, After all, Huangbo is a star in the entertainment industry. What's wrong? After Huangbo looked at Sung Lang blankly, he felt strange for a little while. He felt it was a little strange. Mr. Huang or Huang Xianseng, well, as you said, this is a different youth movie. Ah, hot-blooded, right? Because what else are you gonna write besides youth at that age? You're not that, you don't have that many life experiences, right? Right, purity test and all that. In this movie, there are all kinds of memories of everyone. Of course, this movie is not conventional. We don't have many conventional things. Taking Huang Bo as a fat man, just basically someone with a lot of wealth, the god of wealth. After, or as trying to shear the sheep, right? After the sheep, Sung Long entered the state of without saying a word, so it became very silent. He moved his stool and sat opposite Huang Bo and began to pretend. Oh, this is great. This is great. This comes from Dale Carnegie's How to Make Friends and Influence People, which is what do people want to talk about? The easiest thing is, besides their own knowledge, is themselves, right? That is the story they know best, self-reflection. But it takes a certain skill to be able to draw that out and get people interested both in yourself and not just invested, right? Often came up with this question, how do you find a mentor? And the answer is you have to be worth investing in. And it's very difficult, right? Finding a mentor is very difficult. It's like finding a good professor or a good teacher or good friend or coworker. It's just not easy. You'll know it when it appears. That's what I was told by one of my peers, and I have a little bit of confidence in those words. But you have to be you have to be investable, and then you have to provide something to for others to believe in, whether it's in your self confidence and enthusiasm or a sense of direction. You can't be a rootless duckweed, as they would say in the web novel world. Mr. Huang, what do you think about youth? Right, so this asking his life story. After Sung Lang played a wave of the script paradoxically, he suddenly stared at Huang Bo. I can imagine just a male student in his white. Well, okay. At this period in time, they're all wearing white uniforms and blue pants, but I think past the 90s, you're going to see more casual wear in school. There's school uniforms still big though. It's just, expensive in price, but we won't talk about socioeconomic status in school uniform. It's just current fee. And the teacher in his teacher's uniform, this is the era of chalk blackboards and poplar trees, right? So we're not completely urbanized or cosmopolitan, but just a wooden stool or a metal stool, a metal fan populating the back of the class of the room. You have a desk, pencil holder with some pencils, metal cabinet drawers, right, with the metal lid, and it's all painted green. White desktop. And you just have two guys sitting next to each other, a student and his teacher, right? A teacher is taller, older, wiser, as they would say. Am I about youth? Huang Bo was stunned, but he didn't realize why Sung Long suddenly asked back. Yeah, I said that everyone has an era of youth in their hearts, because they've had youth. Then, Mr. Huang, what is your youth? What was it like? How do you understand youth? Sung Long was extremely serious, or said in an extremely serious manner. Me? Right. Our previous youth was not youthful, right? Wait, 等一下，僧郎, I came here today to read your script. I understand. But Mr. Huang, it doesn't stop me from asking you questions, right? Is it important? It is important. And then he responds, well, in fact, we don't have any youth. At a time, I also had a rock and roll dream. Wait! Just as Huang Bo started to recall, Sung Lang suddenly interrupted. What's wrong? Mr. Huang, on the hour, I know you like this brand of wine mix. Let's order it together. See, he's just, networking. Obviously, this is like storytelling, a lot of BS and whatnot, but, it takes skill to BS. Under Huang Bo's eyes, Sung Lang took out a bottle of wine, a plate of peanuts, and a few dishes, as if by magic, and set up a small table at the same time. I have something to do this afternoon. Hey, Mr. Huang, I know you'll be, I know you'll always be punctual on time every day. Come on. Okay. Huang Bo glanced at Sung Lang, then hesitated for a while and finally nodded. His wine bug just came up a little bit. Mr. Huang, shall we continue to talk about your youth? It is good. As I said, you're going to see this phrase quite a lot just because I think, each chapter or author has their own style. So that's chapter 6. Oh, it's not over yet. And they continue talking. I'm going to make a quick interjection before we move on to the next section, which is I think there's a drinking culture in a lot of different countries, whether it's England, right, and their whole atmospheric, whether it's Spain or Germany or France or Italy or Russia, right? The US, Mexico, Canada, they all have their various drinking cultures. US is much more casual, England definitely much more casual, Japan after work. We'll talk about I'm not going to go too much into Asian drinking culture and whatnot, but I think it's interesting, like both the size of how much they drink, right? You think of Korea or Japan, I would say is a very similar drinking style. China is very much region based, right, as is with most countries in most places. Um, but just an overall generalization, I don't know. I've seen both styles. I've seen both drinking beer and drinking wine. Drinking wine's a little bit different, because historically they've always drank out of a plate. So we're talking about like a small dish plate, about like, a saucepan or a sauce plate. That's about the size of a drink. That's more for respectful funerary ceremonies and whatnot. In more recent times, it's much more beer and wine, right? Everyone has their own cup sizes. If you've never seen like soju or shot cups, right, even some of the teacups in like Korea and Japan, there are very certain sizes. Um, they don't get to like the beer portions that you'll see with a pint in US or England. Germany, even France and Spain have pretty large drinking sizes. So they're quite small, but drinking culture, like with most things, opens up that atmosphere because you get that buzz as you do all over the world. I think Russia though, the volume is quite high. Russia, Finland, U.S., England, a lot of the major countries, France and Italy, Spain and Germany. Yeah, sorry. There's a lot of countries in Europe like Portugal, but we're not, or Switzerland, but we're not going to go into that. Um, is there a correlation between cold countries and drinking? No, wait, let's not go there. Actually, university at the time, hey, was different. Really different. It's not like you now. Mr. Huang, are you in a relationship in college? Haha, yes, I'll tell you. Mr. Huang, you're so awesome. Come on, I'll give you a toast. Haha, I can't drink anymore. That's almost it. So long your script. Mr. Huang, continue to talk about your past. You can read the script anytime. Okay, let's have a drink then. This is like so atmospheric, right? Drinking is. You can only drink the last one, and you won't drink any. I'll only drink one more. I can't drink anymore. I still have something to do. Okay, one more cut, Mr. Huang. What do you think this should be the script for a youth type movie? How should the outline be shot? Actually, I think after a cup, there's another cup. Mr. Huang has stories, and Sung Lang has wine and vegetables. Sung Lang is Sung Lang. It's very appropriate. Whenever I think of Lang, I think of wolf, right? And wolfish. And that has certain connotations in Chinese language and literature. Pretty good. In the afternoon, Huang Bo shook his head, slightly drunk. Sung Lang showed a silly smile and followed Huang Bo out of the dormitory, and he called a car for Huang Bo to go home. After watching teacher Huang leave, Sung Lang ran back to the dormitory without a word. He picked up his computer and started writing the script outline for a while. Half an hour later, Sung Lang nodded with satisfaction. That's such BS. Writing a script takes much longer than that. Because you need all the characters, the format, the lines. I guess it's an outline, so it's just the background story. But even writing a script is time consuming. Then I recalled a few youth type movies that I've seen before. What to youth what those years to I don't know 那年 but that could be a cartoon. And finally Sung Long grinned again and directly pieced together the outline again from Huang Bo and immediately started to dry. The ink started to dry, I'd assume. Oh no, it's on the computer. The next morning, when Huang Bo came to his office to turn on the computer, he received a call. Hey? Hello, Teacher Huang? Sung Long? Hey, yeah, Mr. Huang. Where are you? Are you free? In the office. What's wrong? I'm free. I forgot to show you the script yesterday, and now I'll bring. Oh my lord. This is the classic dragging technique. It's good. A few hours later, Sung Long knocked on the door of Huang Bo's office with a few pages of the script. Mr. Huang, this is the script. Huh? Why does this plot look familiar? Wait, Sung Lang, when Huang Po opened up the script called Our Youth and read the beginning, he felt a little familiar. And then He immediately went to hell. He stared at Sun Long, who was smiling. Mr. Huang's insight yesterday was really unique, which made me feel sober and thought-provoking. And I suddenly realized that Mr. Huang's youth is the real script. And so I stayed up all night, even without dinner, and I immersed myself in artistic creation. After all, art comes from life. Mr. Huang speechless. Mr. Huang, if you think my script's not bad, why don't you invest in it? I'll shoot and it'll help support student dreams, right? It's not much. It's just 2 million. Mr. Huang, 1 million is also possible. And then and they continue talking. 80,000, no more. In fact, 700,000 and it can still be shot. Sun Long walked away with the script in despair. Huang Bo sighed. He's really out of luck. The student, there's simply no cure. However, after being speechless for a few minutes, he suddenly felt that the student script was actually well written. Maybe you can shoot, maybe you can still film it, but such a shameless act is really makes me angry. Sorry, speaking the microphone. Never mind. Another half hour later, there's another knock on the door of Mr. Huangbo's office. Sung Long smiled and walked in shamelessly. Right? It's only if you're shameless will you ever get anything. Mr. Huang, doing what? Actually, 300,000 it can still be shot. Sung Long, if you want to make the script, you can do whatever you want, but I won't invest and I won't help you with investment. In addition to investment, can Mr. Huang help me? No. On issues of principle. On other things you can. How would you play a role? How would you be an actor? Question marks. Huangbo's face was as wonderful as opening a soy shop. Mr. Huang, you have to help me, you know. I dream of being a director. My family is poor and hey, I'm wandering in Yanjing alone. Yanjing alone. And there's no one to help me. I'm I'm in difficulty, you know. It's difficult for rural children to pursue their dreams. For example, like you, Mr. Huang, you've experienced many ups and downs, and finally you saw a rainbow, right? You know, saw this beautiful, beautiful pasture. It's all right, stop talking. Huangbo felt goosebumps when he heard Sung Long's praise. You promised? Sung Long, I can't promise you, but I will consider it. However, don't be too hopeful. I can only say I'll consider it. Okay, Mr. Huang. By the way, the mouse in my dormitory is broken. I think you're using two mice. How about you lend me one to use first, and I'll change the script. And they continue. And that's chapter 6. Very interesting developments. And it is just as youthful as I think some people may anticipate. And really, really special genre. I really enjoy the urban life genre. It's a little bit, yes, I will say it sells a lot of nostalgia. But if you look past it, right? Obviously, you're still gonna look at it with rose-tinted lenses. But if you look past it, a lot of the stories are very well composed, well written. It's not just nostalgia, and I think it's great. It's great showmanship, and just need to look a little harder to find some great, I guess, movie potential. Well, I don't know. My penchants and taste for stories is probably very different than the mainstream. But yeah, that's chapter 6. We'll move on to chapter 7 soon.